break, okay?
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you all for being present today. Thank you for being in this time and space as we lift up and we celebrate the life of Robert, of Bob, of a husband, a father, a friend, a grandpa, an uncle. There's so many labels that I know that I've missed, but a man who was truly loved and who had a passion for golf that I have heard so much about, that he is present in this space. His spirit is present in this space today, and I pray that you feel that spirit and that you lift up and you honor and you celebrate that spirit today. I'm the Reverend Abby Gackenheimer for those of you who are new into this space today. And it is, as I said, good to see you all. I mean, Carol, this is a testament, a lovely, lovely testament. I'm going to walk you through the bulletin just really quick so that we can all be present in this space as easily as possible. We have an opportunity to sing, as well as we will be giving you an opportunity to come up here to this podium and to speak tell us a lovely story, tell us a memory, share with us who Bob was and continues to be for you. But please do use the mic up here because we have folks who are joining us on Zoom. And this way, your voice is heard, your story is told, and it will be recorded for those who are not able to be present today. Carol will start the time of remembrance today, and then we will move to Tom. And following Tom, if no one else in the family would like to get up and speak, then we will open it up to you all to do that. So think about those stories right now so that you will be ready to share those. Of course, we will have a reception over in the Friendship Hall, and you are welcome to share those stories at that point if you're a little bit shy about getting up front here. The song, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," is in your bulletin. This front page are just verse 1. If you flip over to the other side, there are other verses that the family would like us to sing. We might not know this song perfectly, and that's okay. My prayer is that you'll just join in the spirit of this beautiful Shaker song hymn. But just be aware that when we start singing the other verses, they are on the back. With those words, I invite you to be present in this space as we celebrate, as we honor, as we lift up Robert Allen Hacker. And I pray that you hear these words. A human life is sacred. It is sacred in its being born. It is sacred in its living. And it is sacred in its dying. We light this candle as a reminder that our lights are shared. That in these moments, this light connects with all the lights across. May this light be a reminder of the life that we celebrate this day. Please join with me in a moment of prayer. God of grace and tender mercies, be with us and bless us gathered here. The curtain of death has fallen between us and one we love. Give us the strength and the wisdom we need for this hour, the strength to face and to endure all our enormous loss, and the wisdom to rise above our grief and find ample thanksgiving for Bob's life. God, who gives us life and receives us when our life is over, keep us and comfort us now. Your goodness is our strength. Your purpose is our hope. May our confidence in your goodness and our faith in your purpose be unwavering. And may our words be true to your glory and to your creation this day and forevermore. Amen. Death has gathered us here for the end of Robert Allen Hacker's life. But let us not just mourn, for mourn we must, for we have suffered a great loss. But let us also remember the life Bob lived. And more than remember, let us affirm and celebrate that life as an expression through life and love of a divine impulse. As I gathered with the family, they shared with me a poem that they loved, and I would love to share it with you today. It's by David Harkins, and you can find it in your bulletin. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what he would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. Today we grieve Bob's death, but we must also celebrate his life. Though our grief is strong and we must mourn, we will not let the shadow of death obscure the living person who touched our hearts in many ways, filling our lives with memories, meaning, and love. So let us be wise enough and let us be brave enough this morning to honestly remember and bravely celebrate a human life, the life of Bob. So we have come together, and it is good that we have come together, because we need each other in empathy and consolation. and because we need each other in courage and wisdom to face Bob's death, to celebrate Bob's life, and to show our love and support for his family, for those who loved him most. It is good, right, and fitting that we have come together, because a human life is sacred in its being born, in its living, and in its dying. Let us once more join together in a moment of prayer. Holy God, whose ways are not our ways and whose thoughts are not our thoughts, grant that your Holy Spirit may intercede for us with sighs too deep for human words. Heal our wounded hearts made heavy by our sorrow. Through the veil of our tears and the silence of our emptiness, assure us once again that ear has not heard, nor eye seen, nor human imagination envisioned what you have prepared for those who love you. Amen. As we put together this service with the family, they talked about life, about celebrating life. And so the songs that they picked for this service are all about that. So I invite you to join with me in singing Joyful, Joyful, We Adore You. It is in the New Center hymnal, which is the black hymnal in front of you. And I invite you to stand in body or spirit as you are able.
What's it called? Wait, what?
I invite you to pull out those bulletins and to join with me in our response to the Psalter today. I invite you to read the bolds. Psalm 23, as found in the Revised Standard Version. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. I invite Jason forward.
There should be no despair, for while nightly stars are burning, while evening pours its silent dew and sunshine gilds the morning, there should be no despair, though tears may flow down like a river, and not the best beloved of years around your heart forever. They weep, you weep, it must be so. Winds sigh as you are sighing, and winter sheds his grief in snow where autumn's leaves are lying. Yet these revive, and from their fate, your fate cannot be parted. Then journey on, if not elate, still never brokenhearted.
We move into this time in which we pause for a moment as we continue to celebrate Bob's life with this time of remembrance. As I mentioned, you all will have an opportunity to do that. There will be at some point where I might cut you off just for time's sake so that we could make sure we celebrate with the lovely reception over there. But the family smile, because I know there's a lot of stories. I've already received so many of them, and I'm just the pastor. Carol, I welcome you forward.
First, I would like to thank all of you for all the love, support that I have received over the last week. Those of you who, thank God, have not experienced this, it is amazing with you people of the church and the community. That support has held me aloft and kept me going, and I appreciate it so very, very much. Okay. My life with Bob started in 1965. It was my freshman week at college. I was walking back to my dorm when a man jumped out of the car that stopped, ran up to me and said, "Hi, I'm Bob. Do you want to go to a frat party tonight?" And what did I say? Yes, one time. It was only one date, and I saw him around campus. He was 3 years older, so he was only there for really that first year, but I saw him on and off. When I was a senior, I got new skis for Christmas, so I bummed a ride up to Mount Snow. I went to the local bar, the Sitzmark, which is a bar that had a balcony around the lower floor. You could drink either on the balcony or down the floor. I looked down, and there was Bob. I went, "Bob Hacker?" He looked up, "Carol Smith?" Well, you could say that was the start of 53 years together. We were engaged 6 weeks later and married 6 months later. Something I told my daughters not to do. I strongly believe that being very best friends helped us to stay together for those 53 years. I remember we used to joke, "I'm not ever leaving you. I could never find anyone else to take my baloney." Bob was an amazing father to Jen and Jacqueline, supporting them and giving them great activities and instructions. One of the funny things he did, as we crossed over the Mass border into Vermont, we owned a ski house on a lake up in Ludlow. He would put on Don Ho on the radio, and we would sing "Beautiful Kauai" at the top of our lungs as we passed that racetrack, just as you get over the border on Route 7. And boy, we belted it out. He was always dreaming of doing, of doing improvements in our house and in both my daughter's houses too, and a couple of houses around town and everywhere else. He wanted everyone to have the perfect, comfortable home. One of the things he did in the last few years was make changes and improvements in our house so I could live there forever, with him or without. My very best friend will be with me always. When I see him again, I imagine he will yell, "Carol Hacker?" And I'll yell back, "Bob Hacker?" And we will be together forever. My brother, Tom?
It's a tough act to follow. I'll do my best. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Carol's much younger brother, Tom. I have a few memories to share as well, because Bob put a smile on my face also. He was a major influence in the trajectory of my whole family's future. Annie and I were married in '75. My first job was a 3-year seasonal research job in Delaware. Bob gave me the start of my future by bringing Annie and I to Connecticut for a permanent job, gave me my career start. I worked 3 years for Bob, 3 years with Glenn Hochstetter as partners, and finally selling Pella windows and doors for 35 years. Bob knew my seasonal job was ending in November '78 for good. He probably felt sorry for me. In any case, he called me to offer me a job. He was looking for someone he could trust. He should have known he was in trouble right away. He hired me for my carpentry skills and really wanted someone he could trust to keep an eye on his job sites when he wasn't around. I quickly learned the term a briefcase builder. And Bob fit the definition to the T. In those days, there were no cell phones. As such, as a builder, he kept his business running by driving around, acting important, especially carrying the briefcase. When it came to a building site, he would slap it up on the hood of the truck, open it, and take a few notes. When not on site, he was obviously making various trips to the lumber company, the deli for coffee, and the package store. I realized that this was a rather cushy job. This brings me to my following point. Bob loved his family and extended family. I knew he loved my 4 boys, 3 of which are here today. My 4th, Andrew, had to remain at home because his wife, Allie, is due any day now. With my 5th grandchild, the 3 girls and 2 boys. When our families got together for holiday meals, he was ecstatic. He just couldn't wait to quiz each of the boys on their current sports, win-loss records, etc. Carol would celebrate our Christmas Eve gatherings with her traditional dinner of 7 fishes, a tradition that continues today for our Smith family up in Massachusetts. Bob loved this tradition. Jenny and Jackie were his daughters, but I could tell he loved watching my 4 boys eat many, many pounds of fried shrimp. And they would certainly avoid the calamari, squared sardines, or whatever. I regress for a moment. My family of 6, along with Grandma Sue and Papa Duke, are die-hard Red Sox fans. As you know, Bob was a Yankees suck fan. Just imagine this for a moment. Bob decided to take us all to a Red Sox-Yankees game at his revered stadium. He was feeling pretty confident that the Yankees would win that night. Not so fast, Bob. It turned out to be the game in which Pedro Martinez struck out 17. And it delivered a huge win for the Sox. I loved it because Bob was absolutely humiliated and never took us to another game. Of course, that whole night, when our whole family all packed into a caravan, we smiled all the way home driving up the Sawmill River Parkway. One last quick story that I'll never forget. I was around 17 years old. Bob and Carol were home visiting in Attleboro for the weekend. Anyway, Bob and Carol were still in bed. The night before, he had told me it was okay to take his GTO for a test drive. And of course, I knew it was his baby. This offer, I imagine, was his way to win my approval as Carol's new husband. Big mistake in making this offer. I came flying down Clifton Street, which is less than 100 yards from the house. It has a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. However, I redlined all 4 gears, flying up over the bridge over Route 95. And believe me, she was purring. Carol later reported, Bob leaped out of bed screaming, "Carol, holy crap, that was my GTO that just went by." Carol tried her best to cover for me and told him, "Oh, Bob, it couldn't have been." Thank you, Bob. Please rest in peace. I'm not sure who's next.
This is the time for you all. I'm going to start with our Zoom folks, just so we don't miss them. Do we have any on Zoom who would like to offer a memory of Bob? I see smiles. I think they're enjoying the stories being told. All right, well, if you think of one, all you need to do is unmute yourself and start speaking, and we'll hear you over the system, okay? All right. Do we have any among you all who would like to come up here and to share a memory, a story of Bob with Carol and her family today?
Yeah, I would.
All right. Carl, if you want to be prepared after.
Well, if I break down, it's excusable. I'm Rick Jusko. I've been a friend of Bob's and Carol's for 50 years. It's always sad when a good friend passes, but in the case of Bob, very special friend. When I first met Bob, we were both teaching at Brookfield High School. I was a science teacher, and Bob was the new athletic director. We brought him in to expand the athletic program at Brookfield, to move Brookfield from the Berkshire League into the Fairfield County League because we were getting much bigger. So Bob came in, he started the football program over there, along with other programs, enhanced the wrestling program. So he more or less built the whole sports program over at Brookfield High. And one incident I had, which kind of put it together with me and Bob. I was the varsity baseball coach at the time, and at the end of the first year, of Bob's first year, we had advanced to the state tournament, and it was a time when we had budget problems. And being a science teacher, I would go to the principal and say, "Hey, I need slides for such and such." They say, "No money. We can't do it. But I got exams." "No, I'm sorry. Make do." So I went to Bob and said, "Hey, Bob, I'm in the state tournament. I need some baseballs." He goes, "Well, how many you need?" So I said, "About 3 dozen ought to take care of the end of the year." That afternoon, I had 3 dozen baseballs on my desk. No slides for the science program, but I had that. And that was the introduction to Bob. And at that point, we became pretty good friends. We visited he and Carol, and I think Jen was still in a baby carriage at that point. And from that point, we invited them up for the firemen's parade. And they came up. We had a house full. Came down, and Bob said to Carol, I remember him saying this: "We've got to move here. This town is just so great." And the rest of the story. They've been here since, and that also, along with the teaching, and he moved on to construction, and I moved out of the teaching business. But then we continued to come together as families, with Jen and Jackie and my 2 children. We visited many times with them in their house up in Vermont, and it was a family. So again, we will miss him. And I see a lot of golf friends, and Fran will expound on that a little bit. But golf between Bob and I seemed to be the glue that held us together. And a lot of our friends, you couldn't believe the number of friends we've met and were extremely close to Bob over the years. And I do have to say, I am one of the only people left that witnessed his only hole-in-one. Thank you. I will miss you, Bob. Rest in peace.
Carl comes up to speak. Is there another who would like to follow Carl? All right, thank you.
My name's Carl Dill, and I'm a member of this congregation, and I know some of you. And I knew Bob in a different way from his golf buddies. If you had eyes like mine, little white balls don't make any sense at all. I can't see them when they leave the tee, and I can't see them where they go. But Bob and I had something else in common because I grew up in the building material business, and there was nobody that was better than Bob at using those materials. And those of you who think of it when you leave this building, there's another building over here, your building. It's the parsonage. And Bob, who was not a member of this congregation, volunteered at no charge because of his skills and his experience to oversee the restoration of that old building, and it was in tough shape. It hadn't been touched, it hadn't been improved in many, many years. And Bob took it and made all the difference in the world. And if you hadn't, I would have had to do it, and I couldn't have done it as well or as fast or as inexpensively. It was near the end of Bob's life. I didn't know that, of course, but Bob was extraordinary in what he made happen in that house, and that's a skill and a talent that so few people have and don't respect in some cases, because it's almost a blue-collar job in a way, but Bob made it very, very special. I'm proud to have known Bob. It happens every Sunday morning. I'm proud to have known Bob. I love the guy dearly. He was a great friend.
Is there another speaker coming? Is there another? Thank you.
My name's David Owen. I knew Bob mainly as a golfer. He was my best golf buddy probably for 30 years. And I have any number of golf stories about him. My favorite one involves a trip to Pinehurst years ago where Bob got up when it was time to play golf, took a shower, woke up his roommate, who was Rick, told him to take a shower, went downstairs, and other guys on the trip were sitting around watching TV and drinking beer, and Bob said, "It's a little early for that, isn't it?" And but it wasn't, because it was only midnight. Bob had gone to bed only about an hour before, and he was so excited to play golf that he'd been fooled by a streetlight outside the window. He was an important member in our golf club, and one of his roles was to organize everything. And there was one trip where he was keeping all the records for the golf trip, but he thought he'd lost them. So he recreated them. He spent hours in the middle of the night recreating them from the scorecards, then only discovered in the morning that all his files had actually been in the car. I exploited Bob for years by writing about him in Golf Digest and other magazines, and I got, a couple of days ago, I got an email from a Golf Digest reader who didn't know Bob, didn't know me. He says, "I'm so sorry to hear about Mr. Hacker." You could tell he didn't know Bob because he called him Mr. Hacker. He was a wonderfully memorable part of Golf Digest, and readers will no doubt know how close you were to him. Hacker was one of my favorite topics. I especially enjoyed the picture of him hunched over the scorecards for the story you told about him, thinking he'd lost them on a buddy's trip. Anyway, I miss him already.
We'll have time for a couple more, so as our next speaker comes up, do we have another one who would like to follow? Any family before? Yeah, it's harder for family to. Anyone else afterwards, though? All right, thank you.
Hi, everybody on Zoom. Hi, everyone. Wow, this is really wonderful. Carol, my heart breaks. But I have to say, the thing I think of immediately whenever I think of Bob is his amazing light-up smile. And that's what we know of Bob, right? I want to tell you, I get the great privilege of having a vantage point that, frankly, only Carol, Bob, and I have, right? Which is as grandparents to these two amazing, beautiful girls. Young ladies, sorry. and to have the opportunity to walk through this journey as Jason and Jackie have evolved their relationship, and the warmth and joy, the sense of pride. I can tell you, I mean, there have just been so many times, I actually wish there were more, where we stood together from an angle and would watch them, and we beamed with pride and happiness and warmth. And then not to say, also, not to lose sight of the fact that we have our other Gaddy relatives, right? Which, you know, all of this family together was like a marriage made in heaven, right? But I have to say, too, that Carol, I'm so grateful to you and Bob for one thing in particular that I've never voiced, and that is for being one of the most incredible role models Jason and Jackie have in their lives for how to create a loving, terrific, lovable partnership with each other. You and Bob have been an amazing example of that, and I thank you so much for giving my son and my family that gift. So thank you.
Any others before we move on? You have do you want to get up here and talk? And you're going to be the golf speaker too, yes? All right. As Bram comes up here, because he's going to have an extended time, I just want to tell you, this is lovely to hear these stories. I know Bob through Carol, the conversations she and I have had, but I've known Bob in the times of illness. So to be able to witness and hear some of these stories, and I know I'm going to hear more because I got phone calls, I got emails, I had folks in my office all week long. I can't even tell you how many folks came by to tell me golf stories. I'm not a golfer. But I enjoyed it, and it gave me this understanding and this of Bob and the spirit that continues to be present. So I hope you share those over there. I'm going to give Bram the space for both times. So if you want to share about Grandpa, and then to go ahead and move into the golf piece. All right.
So, most people might not know, but I had a child 2 months ago, and I remembered the day I told my grandfather, and his face just lit up with joy, and it was really awesome to see how happy he was, because I was also really happy to be a father and everything. So it was just a great time to see his face light up and everything. So, all right. I'm not saying my golf game went bad, but if I grew tomatoes, they come up sliced. Golf is a game in which you yell 4, shoot 6, and write down 5. If you think it's hard to meet new people, try picking up the wrong golf ball. The reason the pro tells you to keep your head down is so you can't see him laughing. Golf is a good walk spoiled, as most people say. I don't care to join any club that's willing to have me as a member. Have you ever noticed what golf spells backward? Just how childlike golf players become is proven by their frequent inability to count past 5. The people who gave us golf and called it a game are the same people who gave us bagpipes and called it music. The only thing a golfer needs is more daylight. Golf is played by millions of mature men whose wives think they are out having fun. The difference between golf and the government is that in golf you can't improve your lie. Golf is a day spent in a round of strenuous idleness. If you watch a game, it's fun. If you play it, it's recreational. If you work at it, it's golf. The other day I broke 70. That's a lot of clubs. The uglier a man's legs are, the better he plays golf. It's almost a law. I've just got one problem. I'm standing too close to the ball after I've hit it. Thank you.
As I said before, thank you all. Sometimes as a pastor, it's hard to stand up here having not known the individual. At these times when you are able to share with me and with each other, just allow me to be present all the more and to celebrate a life that was lived well in joy and laughter and this game called golf that consumed, I think, his life sometimes, but that created so many lifelong friends and memories. And to learn about this relationship between Bob and Carol, you heard folks speak about how amazing this relationship was. I've heard Carol said that he was her best friend. How lovely to be able to say that about a partner of 53 years. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing, for the words. Thank you all for gifting me this opportunity to learn more about Bob. And I look forward when we do head over into the reception to hear more stories and to meet you all as you are able and comfortable to do. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for your words. Thank you, Tom, for your words. Thank you. In opening, I said that death is what has gathered us together. Yes and no, for we have also been brought together by life. Bob's life that touched each of you in some way. And we have been brought together by life's greatest expression, which is love. Love for Bob and also love for his family. This occasion brings us to what feels like the edge of the abyss of death. But it also opens life to us. This moment is filled with the meaning that we bring to it, a meaning that has swelled this day among us through shared grief, but more through the concern and love for one another. We have found one another and have discovered something of the blessed healing that we can do for each other. But let us be mindful of those who bear the greatest burden of grief for Bob's death, especially his family, and especially Carol and his kids, his grandkids. And his great-grandson. That's right. Oh, there was so much joy, so much joy. Yeah. Our hearts reach out to you, and we find ourselves feeling deep within that which is beyond words. Yet, let these words presume to speak the unspeakable today. We who are here and those who are absent and are virtually present with us are thinking of you now. Feel for you, we offer our love so that you are not alone at this time of great loss. We have come together as family and friends, and we give thanks for the life of Bob. And we give thanks for his ways that brought friendship and concern and love that filled our lives. May we who mourn his death be granted the gifts of understanding and acceptance. And may we truly find a sense of thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for a good, virtuous life lived fully and fruitfully. We give thanks that Bob was and is a part of our common life. The truth of his life endures, for it is woven into the fabric of the larger life of which we all are a part. And now, as we remember and we bid when we have loved and held dear adieu, let us be confident and trusting that human life is full of meaning and purpose, even in death. For human life is a sacred thing. Its beginning is sacred, its span of years is sacred, and its ending is sacred too. Let Bob's name be inscribed in the tree of life forever. you are able, I invite you to stand at this moment. I invite you to hear these words once again. A human life is holy, for it comes from God and returns to God. A human life is holy in its becoming. A human life is holy in its living. A human life is holy in its dying. And though our sorrow is great, we are glad that Bob's life filled our lives and enriched our common world with thoughts and word, love and laughter. May we never forget Bob's friendly and kindly ways, as well as his passions and his concerns. And may Bob live, in eternity's embrace forever. It is never easy to say this final goodbye, this adieu, but we now must. So with heavy heart, but with true joy that Bob lived and loved, we entrust Robert Allen Hacker to the care of God's eternity. And as we say our goodbyes to one that we hold dear, be our confidence and our trust, O God of life and death. And together we say, Amen. As I said, the family picked out some lovely hymns today, and one of those is an old Shaker hymn. "'Tis a gift to be simple." I invite you to continue to stand if you're comfortably able and join with me in singing this song found in your bulletin. The words are what speak the most. This life we celebrate. This life we honor. This life we remember. The spirit that continues to be present. My prayer is that this time of gathering doesn't end here. That you move over into the friendship hall, that you grab food, you can go onto the lawn, share these memories, continue to share the spirit of Bob with each other, with his family especially. But I invite you to hear these words as we do go forth. We are gathered in the presence of a deep and abiding mystery. With humble hearts, we bow before the veil which has fallen between us and the one that we have loved. Let none fear, for greater than sorrow is love, which endures through pain and conquers even death. Love binds all hearts and bonds of fellowship and courage. They who love unselfishly face even the depths with courage, for their strength is the strength of many, and their courage rests upon the love of friends. And now, may the peace which passes understanding, the peace which comes with acceptance and thanksgiving, the peace of the Spirit which rises above all strains of the earth, be and abide with you all, both this day and forevermore. Amen.
I just walked into this.